All right, let's kick off this explainer with two absolutely undeniable facts. Fact number one, India currently has the world's largest youth population. And fact number two, millions of those young Indians are essentially locked out of the workforce, which leaves a massive amount of economic potential just sitting entirely on the table. Welcome to our analysis of Skill India Decoded. Today we're going to break down the future of jobs, employability, and the specific capabilities that will ultimately define India's journey toward becoming a fully developed nation. But we're going to look at this from a very specific angle, and that is the investor's perspective. We'll explore why this current skills gap isn't just an educational failure, but a massive macroeconomic risk factor.
Okay, let's dive into this glaring contradiction that constantly gives global investors pause. On one hand, you've got this unprecedented demographic advantage, right? It's a massive, highly energetic labor pool standing right outside the factory gates. But on the other hand, you have a pretty grim reality where millions of those people are unable to actually secure work and contribute to industrial productivity. From a business standpoint, it's a market inefficiency of staggering proportions. And seeing those two facts side by side leads us directly to a really massive question. How can a country have both? I mean, how can a nation have an incredible abundance of human capital, yet companies are constantly complaining about a severe shortage of talent? For an investor who's just trying to scale their operations, this bad math signals a severely broken supply chain in the labor market.
To really understand this bottleneck, we first need to look at what economists call a demographic dividend. It basically just means a period when a country has a massive working-age population compared to its dependents. Every single year, millions of Indians enter the workforce. Now, in theory, more workers should mean more productivity, rapid innovation, and incredible economic prosperity. But having young people is really just an advantage. Having skilled young people, well, that is the primary engine for long-term GDP growth and corporate profitability.
And this brilliantly illustrates where the matchmaking failure becomes painfully apparent. Every single year, universities graduate these massive new batches of students. Yet employers keep saying, we can't find job-ready talent, while the graduates are throwing their hands up saying, well, we can't find jobs. This isn't just frustrating for everyone involved, it literally bleeds investor capital. I mean, imagine spending millions on a massive new automotive or semiconductor plant, only to have the launch delayed by 6 whole months simply because you cannot find enough trained CNC machine operators. That is the real-world cost of this disconnect.
That massive disconnect is what we call the skills gap. And make no mistake, from an investor's standpoint, this gap acts as a severe bottleneck on industrial productivity. It's honestly one of the absolute biggest risks to long-term corporate profitability and scale in the 21st century.
Which brings us to perhaps the most absolutely crucial idea in our entire explainer today. Education and employability are not the same thing. Actually, let me repeat that because it's foundational. Education and employability are not the same thing. From an investor's perspective, pouring capital into a workforce that has degrees but zero functional skills yields a big, fat, zero return on investment. A degree really only tells employers what you studied in a classroom, whereas skills prove what you can actually execute on a factory floor or in a boardroom.
You see, the rules of the game have fundamentally shifted in response to evolving market demands. The old societal formula of just studying hard to earn a degree used to essentially guarantee a job. But if a company operates on that old formula today, it simply creates bloated corporate payrolls with extremely low output. Modern reality demands something entirely different. Today, companies urgently need workers who can immediately drive operational efficiency, solve complex tech problems, and adapt to incredibly rapid changes. The harsh reality is that immense amounts of capital are being burned right now on outdated training infrastructure that just does not serve modern industrial needs. To quote the source analysis directly, it's a bit like teaching someone how to use a typewriter while the workplace is discussing artificial intelligence. It perfectly highlights a profound waste of institutional investment when we're busy preparing students for a world that has already vanished. Because that modern workplace is being entirely shaped by the fourth industrial revolution. Right now, global investors are pouring billions of dollars into AI, advanced manufacturing, automation, and robotics. But here's the catch. All those massive capital-intensive investments will completely stall out if the human capital isn't there to actually operate, maintain, and scale them. And this creates a very unique kind of disruption. The core challenge isn't necessarily that jobs are vanishing into thin air. The real issue is that the roles themselves are evolving at lightning speed. When a workforce's skills lag behind this technological curve, corporate adoption of new, highly efficient technologies slows down dramatically, which completely kills the company's competitive edge in the global market. Of course, we can't talk about all this technology without asking the inevitable question, will machines take our jobs? And hey, it's a completely reasonable fear.
But history actually offers a really clear lesson here. Technology rarely eliminates human work entirely. Instead, it changes the way we work. Companies aren't looking to buy machines just to replace humans. They're looking to invest in humans who can act as force multipliers for those machines to maximize total output.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what modern employers are actually desperate for right now to protect their bottom lines. They need technical skills to execute the work and digital skills to interact with the new tech. They need crystal clear communication to streamline operations, but above all, they desperately need problem solving and adaptability. In a real-world manufacturing setting, an adaptable problem solver is literally the difference between a minor hiccup and an incredibly expensive production line halt.
But here we hit a massive cultural roadblock that causes severe economic damage. Society often treats vocational skills as a second choice, kind of like a backup plan for folks who don't follow the mainstream academic route. But the economic reality is completely the opposite. Technicians, machine operators, electricians, healthcare workers, they are the absolute backbone of industrial productivity. Treating these incredibly crucial roles as a backup plan creates chronic labor shortages that directly deter foreign direct investment.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a solution. Fixing this requires a strategic shift in how we build functional expertise, and apprenticeships are a brilliant corporate de-risking tool. For centuries, people learn through a really simple continuous cycle. Watch, practice, inevitably make some mistakes, and learn again. From a business standpoint, this hands-on cycle isn't just about learning, it's a highly efficient way to onboard talent while maintaining stringent quality control and minimizing expensive operational errors.
Today, modern apprenticeships take that continuous cycle and fuse it perfectly with formal education. Nations that manage to perfect this collision of academic theory and messy, real-world workplace reality, they become absolute manufacturing powerhouses. They offer the highest stability and the highest returns for global investors because they guarantee a highly competent talent pool from day one.
Recognizing the sheer scale of this economic necessity, we have structural reforms like the Skills India mission. This is a massive initiative aimed at repairing the labor supply chain from the ground up. By boosting vocational education, forging deep industry partnerships, and formally certifying practical skills, the goal is to create a reliable, high-yield talent pipeline for both domestic and international corporations.
So, the crucial point is this. The urgency behind this reform comes down to one pure macroeconomic reality. Demographic dividends do not last forever. Many developed nations are already aging rapidly. India possesses an incredible window of human potential right now, but the clock is ticking. If this window closes before the workforce is properly skilled, the country risks growing old before it grows rich, which is a massive red flag for any long-term economic forecasting.
For India to successfully capitalize on this memento and hit its 2047 economic targets, connecting education directly with industry needs is the ultimate infrastructure project. Seriously, it is arguably more critical than building new roads or ports because human capital is the core driver of growth. We have to expand apprenticeships, build societal respect for vocational excellence, and completely normalize lifelong learning.
Ultimately, we have to dismantle the myth that the future belongs exclusively to degree holders. The global market really only recognizes and rewards one single metric, and that is value creation. Whether you achieve that through a university degree, a highly specialized technical skill, or a hybrid of both, your ability to generate tangible economic value is exactly what secures both individual career longevity and sustained corporate growth. Because when you step into the job market of tomorrow, the fundamental question won't be about the certificate hanging on your wall. The ultimate question that investors and employers are going to ask when deciding exactly where to deploy their capital is simply this: what problems can you solve? That is the absolute true test of employability. India stands at a truly remarkable moment in history, and the most vital investment to be made right now isn't in autonomous machines or sprawling buildings, but in its people. So I want to end this explainer by turning it over to you. What do you think is India's biggest economic hurdle right now? Is it a lack of jobs, a lack of skills, or that massive gap between traditional education and actual industry needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'll be exploring more of this in our next explainer, where we'll tackle the degree myth. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you next time.